I'm Peter Zinober. I joined Greenberg Traurig with a group of lawyers from Zinober and McRae. In May of 2007, I was asked to be the global co-chair of Labor and Employment and Global Human Capital. You know, there are a number of different nonprofits that we support because our lawyers have been passionate and committed to these organizations. It's a culture, it is part of our DNA, and it's one of the really wonderful things about practicing here. I started as a freshman at the University of Florida in 1960. I auditioned for and joined the symphonic band, and I was the principal euphonium from 1960 through June of 1969, which was 3 months after I had actually graduated from law school. In addition, I played French horn in the University of Florida Symphony Orchestra, trumpet in the brass choir. When I graduated, my roommate and I drove my little 1963 Volkswagen Beetle up to Washington, D.C. with every possession we owned, and I was fortunate enough to get a job with the solicitor's office at the United States Department of Labor. I had been attending George Washington University at night to get a master's degree in labor law. I really needed to round out my experience with the government by trying cases and investigating cases. And so I transferred to Tampa in January of 1972. Once I was recruited out by Carlton Fields to join their labor and employment practice, I felt that I could start to integrate into the community, and one of the first things I did was to join the Cultural Affairs Council of the Greater Tampa Chamber of Commerce. A year later, I chaired it, and they invited me to join the board of directors of what was then the Florida Gulf Coast Symphony Orchestra, which evolved into the Florida Orchestra. Joined the board in 1973 and in 1981 and became the chairman of the board of the orchestra. Up until 1983, the orchestra was a per-service orchestra. The musicians all had individual contracts. There was no collective bargaining agreement or what was then called the master agreement. We were able to negotiate a collective bargaining agreement to solve the 1983 strike, which provided weekly salaried opportunities for all of the musicians, the full-time contracted musicians of the orchestra. Two of the things that I wanted to accomplish as chairman of the board of the orchestra were to create a Hillsborough County youth orchestra and to create a Florida orchestra music education program that was national in reputation. I've served 2 6-year terms on the City of Tampa Public Art Committee. I served an 8-year term as a member of the Hillsborough County Arts Council. Cynthia is the executive director of the Henry P. Plant Museum. She's held that position for 27 years. She had been in the arts. She had actually worked at the Florida Orchestra. She is passionate about the arts, the visual arts, the performing arts. She has served on a number of different boards. Matter of fact, our art collection is largely the result of her good taste. She's much more of an expert in that than I am. You know, there are a lot of wonderful leaders in the community who have done great things, and I created a term. Don't share it with anybody else, it's mine. Mega visionary. And what is a mega visionary? Well, let me illustrate it by telling you who falls into that category from my standpoint. Jeff Finnick, Judy Lisi, Tom James, Lorna Taylor, George Perez. The reach, the impact, extends well beyond their own organizations, their own spheres. They affect everybody. They affect not just a fairly limited reach, but they affect a whole community. We have a job to do. We have people in our midst who are mega visionaries, who are affecting the future of our community for 50 or more years going forward. Our challenge is to continue to be missionaries and to spread the word, if you will, spread the gospel about this, and we can do our part to make sure that the arts are an integral part of the evolution of these different areas of the region. It's just inspiring.